Hi everyone. Very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the session. So please tell me first of all, आवाज clear है, video clear है? Lag तो नहीं हो रहा है बीच में? मैं शेयर कर देती हूँ तो फिर आप लोग मुझे बताइएगा. Chief, can you tell me if my audio and video is okay? Thank you so much. So, welcome to Crack Grade B. मैं हूँ निहारिका जॉन. I teach English and the competitive exams के लिए बहुत important subject है, as you already know, and that's what I teach, right? हम अभी at present कर रहे हैं रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन CSAT के लिए. We have a course जो हमारी वेबसाइट पर शुरू हो रहा है जल्द ही. डिटेल्स आप डिस्क्रिप्शन में चेक कर सकते हैं, हमारे ऐप वेबसाइट पर भी चेक कर सकते हैं. If you are new here, subscribe the channel. फटाफट like और share करो because these are some very interesting inference वाली जिसे थोड़ा दिमाग लगाना पड़ता है. Those kind of questions and they are really interesting because not just CSAT के लिए आप अपने comprehension part पर work कर रहे हो but also for any other exam जो आपने अभी प्लान आउट करे हैं देने के लिए. इंग्लिश अगर आता है तो रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्ट और एक ऐसा पार्ट है जो आता ही आता है. लेट्स से मिसस्पेल्ड वर्ड्स नहीं आया, क्लोज टेस्ट नहीं आया, ओके, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि एक टॉपिक वो नहीं आए, देयर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी कि सेंटेंस करेक्शन आए नहीं, पर रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन आता ही आता है. So we need to make sure that that area हम जितना solid कर सके, we should do that. Okay, so okay, I lost my spec somewhere. I mean, I kept and forgot कि कहाँ पर है. I keep forgetting often, but this time I was unable to find. तो थोड़ा सा मेरा पढ़ने में ऊपर नीचे होता है, तो please bear with me. We will be starting in a minute, right? That's the first question. एक दो क्वेश्चन में ना आज क्वेश्चन लेंदी भी है, पैसेज. सो पहले हम यहाँ से स्टार्ट करते हैं. दैट्स योर पैसेज एंड द क्वेश्चन इज देयर ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड. Okay. Answer is A. Very good. So what do we get to see here? Uh, just give me a moment. Okay. Let me fix something. No, no, no. Let me fix that. So which of the following is logical statement? जो logical message, rational, practical, basically the conclusion conveyed by the passage क्या सीखने को मिलता है? A is the right answer. Passage पहले पढ़ लेते हैं. Science by itself is not enough. There must be a force and discipline outside the sciences to coordinate them and point to a goal. अपने आप में enough नहीं है. It is not possible to run a course, all right, right when the goal itself has not been properly placed. What science needs is philosophy. Science को क्या चाहिए? Philosophy, that is the analysis and coordination and results. Government suffers precisely like science for lack of philosophy. तो साइंस में philosophy चाहिए and government में भी चाहिए, otherwise both of them suffer. Philosophy bears to science the same relationship that statesmanship bears to politics. Movement guided by total knowledge, etc., as against aimless and individual seeking. Just as the pursuit of knowledge becomes scholasticism when divorced from the actual needs of men and life, so pursuit of politics. So एक comparison है यहाँ पे, है ना, pursuit of knowledge और pursuit of politics का. So from this there is a comparison done और उस comparison को करते करते author ने हमें बताया है कि statesmanship में क्या ज़रूरी होता है. So modern statesmen need to be well trained in scientific methods and philosophical thinking. They should be trained well to enable them to have a better perspective of their roles and other things. तो यहाँ पे aims की बात हो रही है, अगर aimless हैं तो कोई काम का नहीं है उनका उस position पर होना. So that's what the passage is conveying here. If we go to B, C and D, एक बार अच्छे से पढ़ते हैं और समझते हैं. It is not desirable to have governments managed by empirical statesmen unless well mixed with. So there is a condition. It is a negation, not desirable. Governments managed by empirical statesmen. इनके बारे में भी passage में नहीं बोला है specifically. It's a general statement which is given but not exactly this. So ये नहीं होगा. At many points वो differ कर रहा है हमारे passage पे से. As the statements, bureaucrats are the products of a society, it is desirable to have a system of education in a society. तो ये वाला ऑप्शन सोसाइटी के बारे में ज़्यादा हो गया. Whereas जो हमारा ऑथर है यहाँ पे बता रहा है कि स्टेट्समैनशिप में, दैट मीन्स स्टेट्समैन जो हैं उनको क्या करने की ज़रूरत है. ओके, इट्स नॉट इनफ for them to be as they are. There are certain more things they should have. Just like science by itself is not enough. तो वो भी हम नहीं बोल सकते. It is desirable that all scientists, all is an extreme word, need to be philosophers. ना 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 ना, ऐसा तो बोला ही नहीं है. साइंटिस्ट को फिलोसोफर्स भी बनना है, दैट ऑल्सो ऑल एक्सट्रीम वर्ड है. रिलेशनशिप गलत डिस्क्राइब्ड है, नो, दैट्स आउट. So from elimination as well, you get the answer जो A है. Is there any doubt in this one? You've got it right anyways. A very small, tiny, cute question you have right now in front of you. Please go ahead. So these were the questions we have been doing right from the starting till here, जो 2023 के questions. This is the tone of the passage, you can say, or actually it says, based on the above passage, which one of the following terms best expresses the ultimate goal of the state? तो वो गोल जो है उसकी टोन पूछी है. ओके, नाउ the last end of the state is not to dominate nor to restrain. Okay, rather it is to free each man from fear that he may live and act however. So free men from fear, that is liberty. फ्री कर देना, लिबर्टी दे देना, फ्रीडम दे देना. Okay, because it is asking ultimate goal of the state. So the last end of the state, आंसर आपके इतने में ही मिल जाता है. This is a very specific question. I won't say it is a direct question, but it is not like you have to comprehend the whole thing. So you have to express the term that fits exactly जो बात बोली जा रही, goal of the state. Goal of the state क्या हो गया? Last end of the state. And what it is to free each man, that is to give liberty, safety, health, harmony के बारे में बात नहीं है. Harmony is मिलजुल कर रहना. Okay, so even if we read ahead, that he may live and act with full security without injury. The end of the state, I repeat भी हो रहा है, is not to make. तो not वाली line मत पढ़ो. It is to enable their bodies and minds to function safely. It is to lead men to live by exercise of free reason that they may not waste their strength on ABCD. तो यहाँ पे freedom की ही बात हो रही है. When we talk about harmony, and that also communal harmony, so मिलजुल कर रहना community wise, वो बात को convey कर रहा है, which is not of course given in the passage anywhere. ठीक है, अब हम करेंगे start 2022 के questions. I was expecting कि ये वाला सही होगा, ठीक है, we are here to learn, so rest of you, please answer. So, unsustainability in production pattern. Question is, थोड़ा सा specific, unsustainability is due to which of the following? Of course, passage के अनुसार किसके क्या reason है? We cannot go with our foreknowledge on this topic. So, the main threat to maintain progress in human development comes from increasingly evident unsustainability. किस चीज़ की है? Of production and consumption patterns. Current productions rely on fossil fuels. We now know that this unsustainable thing is because of the resources are finite. Okay. Then limited availability. Finite है तो limited availability है. We rely heavy on fossil fuels, that is also mentioned. The close link between economic growth, greenhouse gas needs to be severed. Some developed countries have begun to alleviate the worst effects, but most developing countries are hampered by high cost and low availability of clean energy resources. Developed countries need to support developing countries. Nowhere we get any hint कि expansion of recycling जो है वो production pattern की unsustainability से relate कर रहा है. So very easy question, almost direct question आपका ये था. So yes, your answer is A, 1 and 2 only. For the same passage, you have another question. पर पढ़ो, है ना, पढ़ के ही आंसर देना है. ऐसा नहीं है कि you just think चलो we already have read, now directly jump into answering. We cannot do that. We should not be doing. ओके, तो थोड़ा सा इन्फ्रेंस करके आंसर देना बनता है इस वाले क्वेश्चन का. ओके, वी नीड टू थिंक एन आंसर. Consider the following statements. Consider. Okay, that means in a way assumption. Developed countries can support developing countries' transition by making clean energy resources available at low cost. These are important keywords. Providing loans for improving their transport at nominal rates. यहाँ पे भी costing में असर पड़ेगा. Encouraging them to change their production consumption patterns. Now author ने जो यहाँ पे लिखा है, let's read couple of last lines. Some developed countries have begun to alleviate the worst effects by expanding recycling and investing in public transport and infrastructure. Transport में लगा रहे, recycling में, infra में. But most countries are hampered by high costs and low availability. मतलब कि low availability तो बाहर से मंगवाना, transportation का need होगा. Developed countries need to support developing countries' transition to sustainable human development. So from here, from the later half, we get to see, of course, अगर clean energy sources low cost पर available हैं, that will help in transition because costing is an issue here. Providing loans for improving public transport. So of course we can see the public transport में invest करने से alleviate हो सकते हैं. So even for developed to help developing countries, the same thing can work out, है ना. तो उसके लिए अगर loans देना पड़े, because we are considering the statement, you may not get the word loans in the passage. Loans word आपको शायद passage में नहीं मिलेगा, but we are simply considering. तो हम बाहर से कुछ कंसीडर कर रहे हैं, दैट शुड बी इन टेंडम विथ वट एवर हमारे पैसेज में दिया है. तो इसलिए सेकेंड वाला भी सही है. नाउ चेंजिंग देयर प्रोडक्शन एंड कंजम्पशन पैटर्न. प्रोडक्शन का फिर भी समझ में आता, कंज्यूमिंग किस प्रकार से हो रही है वो भी बदल दो. उसका हिंट, उसका कुछ बेसिस हमको यहाँ नहीं मिलता. So third one is not there. First and second only. B is your answer. Um, Actually, that is a very debatable topic, Chief. If in interview उस purpose से पूछ रहे हो, please make sure you know the time. Like if you are there interviewing at 2 o'clock, then wish them good afternoon. This is something that people have started doing, saying good morning the very first time you meet in the day. What if you're meeting me at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m., not a.m.? It's weird. It's not. I won't go with this thought that you should greet good morning if that is the first time you're meeting the person. Otherwise, there is no point of using afternoon and good evening and other things that we say. Chalo, you have the next question. Okay. Rest of you? Anyone else? Okay. So, first, let's read the question. As per the passage, deforestation, denudation, that is soil depletion, will ultimately lead to which of the following? Depletion of soil resources, shortage of land, lack of water. ये तीन कीवर्ड्स हैं. अब इसमें से क्या हमें पैसेज में मिल रहा है? अगेन, डिफॉरेस्टेशन, डेन्यूडेशन, these are the terms you may already know क्योंकि आप ज्योग्राफी के लिए प्रिपेयर करते ही हो. But please don't use that knowledge. Keep that knowledge in your mind. Not nothing bad in it. But as per the passage, answer करना. Right? So unless the forces and tendencies which are responsible for destroying the country's environment are checked in the near future, afforestation of denuded areas is taking up on a massive scale. The harshness of the climate condition and soil erosion by wind and water will increase to such an extent that agriculture, जो कि mainstay है, will become impossible. So first thing that we get to see is depletion, जो कि definitely मिल रहा है. The desert countries of the world and desert areas are a grim reminder. Pockets of desert-like landscape are now appearing in the other parts of the country. क्या है यहाँ पे? ओनली अ फ्यू डेकेड्स बैक देयर यूज्ड टू बी लश ग्रीन फॉरेस्ट्स, अच्छा था, पर अब डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो गया है। पर ये फॉरेस्ट कैसा था? विथ स्ट्रीम्स एंड स्प्रिंग्स, देयर इज ओनली ब्राउन अर्थ नाउ, मतलब कि यहाँ डिफॉरेस्टेशन हो गया, without any water in the streams and springs except in the rainy season. तो lack of water भी आपको यहाँ पे मिल रहा है। of course यहाँ पे cultivation पे भी असर पड़ा है, all together ही यहाँ पे बरसात कम हुई है। तो first and the third ये है। shortage of land for common, यहाँ पे बसने की बात, बसावट की बात, okay, that is not what we are talking about in the passage. That's why second one won't be considered and the answer is definitely C. Message of the author is, what do you get to learn from it? Anyone else? Answer here is, okay. The passage says, in simple matters like shoemaking, we think only a specially trained person will serve a purpose, but in politics, we presume that everyone knows how to get votes. So, first is like थोड़ा सा sarcastic कि छोटे matters like shoemaking, you want a specialist to do. But in a major thing like politics, we want we think or we presume that everyone knows how to get votes, and that's okay, it's a very common thing. When we are ill, we call for trained physician whose degree is a guarantee, है ना? हमको अगर let's say दांत का issue है, so we go to specifically a dentist, not any other doctor. We do not ask for handsomest, that's not a word but that's an exaggeration, of course most handsome hota hai physician or most eloquent one. Well then when the whole state is ill, मतलब जब पूरा state suffer कर रहा है, did we not look for the service and guidance of the wisest and the best? So why we are compromising with the standard of जो भी person को हम choose करते हैं to run the government? So which of the statement best reflects? We assume that in democracy any politician is qualified to administer a state, but ये नहीं बोल रहा है passage is leaving us with a question, author is leaving us with a question. We need to devise a method of barring incompetence from public office में कोई भी नहीं चलेगा. We here also we want some trained people, some experienced और उस domain के अच्छे लोग. That's what author is conveying here. Politicians should be selected from those trained in administration. It is too specific. Trained in administration alone की बात नहीं करी है author ने, ना hint करी है. As voters select their administrators, eligibility of politicians cannot be questioned. This is going in some other direction. We assume that in a democracy, any politician, this is true. A वाली बात true है कि ऐसा होता है, but it is not the message of the author of the passage. This is not the message that we get from here, and that's the very reason कि answer आपका C ही था. Okay. Why is the methodology adopted in India to count poor debatable? That means कि जो term poor है उसकी बात कर रहे हैं. It is also in the quotation mark. Let's read what does our passage say. The poverty line is quite unsatisfactory when it comes to grasping the extent of poverty in India. So author is not happy with the poverty line, whatever it is जो अभी चल रही है. It is not only because of its extremely narrow definition of who is poor, but and debatable methodology used to count the poor, but also because of a more fundamental assumption underlying it. तो यहाँ पे issue भी उसने बता दिया है. It exclusively relies on the notion of poverty as insufficient income or insufficient purchasing power. So it is based on the position of poverty as meager income, meager मतलब बहुत कम, insufficient income and buying capacity. Purchasing power को buying capacity बोल रहा है. तो थोड़ा सा indirect question था, but answer was right in front of you. आपको कुछ उसको बहुत ज़्यादा कंक्लूड करना क्रक्स वाला टाइप का क्वेश्चन ये नहीं था, है ना. बाकी क्योंकि पैसेज में ये 2 पॉइंट दिए हैं इसलिए आंसर डी है और बाकी आंसर नहीं. बहुत ही स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड क्वेश्चन. Okay, waiting. Did you answer, Chief? Then deleted your comments like that? Answer is AC. Why is income poverty? It's a specific term. If you have read the passage roughly, you know कि ये यहाँ से शुरू होती है. ठीक है? The first time this term we get to see is here. One can categorize it by calling it income poverty. If poverty is ultimately about deprivations affecting human well-being, then income poverty is only one aspect of it. Answer फिर से आपको सीधे सीधे दिया है ना? It talks only one kind of deprivation, ignoring all others. That's what is happening. तभी तो income poverty बोल रहा होता. Other deprivations in human life have nothing to do. Nothing to do is a strong word. नहीं होगा. Income poverty is not a permanent condition. Income poverty restricts. लेकिन ये जो बात है, why is income poverty only one measure? One measure ही क्यों है? क्योंकि reason clear cut यहाँ पे दिया. बाकी चीजें relevant नहीं है इस point पर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन थोड़ा ध्यान से करेंगे. No, offline. What does the author mean by poverty of life? Again, a specific term जहाँ पर author ने introduce करी है वहीं पर he will mean something, है ना? तो वहाँ पे आपको दिखेगा कि later half में poverty of a life lies not merely in impoverished states in which a person actually lives, but also in the lack of real opportunity given by social constraints as well as person circumstances. यहीं पर जहाँ पर उसने डिफाइन करा है इतना ही पढ़ के यू विल हैव टू फिगर आउट व्हाट ही मीन्स. ओके, once again let's read. So this lies not merely in impoverished state in which person actually lives, जिस स्थिति में है, not only that but also in the lack of real opportunities. So actual opportunities के बारे में भी है and given by social constraints as well as personal circumstances उसके कैसे हैं. So all deprivations in a human life it stem from not only lack of income, that is impoverished state, but lack of real opportunities, but also the lack of real opportunities as it is answer आपको यहाँ मिल रहा है ना, ये आपका आंसर हो जाता है. ओके, अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिस्ड हैं ही नहीं यहाँ पे जहाँ पर पॉवर्टी ऑफ लाइफ बताया जा रहा है. मटीरियल एज वेल एज नॉन मटीरियल डेप्रीवेशन, समवेयर यू कैन थिंक कि यहाँ पे इमटेरियलिस्टिक चीज़ें भी तो काउंट कर रहे हैं, बट when author has directly mentioned his point about poverty of a life, तो let's stick to जो उसने बोला है वहाँ पे उसके शब्दों पर ही हम अपना आंसर बेस करेंगे. ये थोड़ा सा शायद आपको पढ़ने में प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है. प्लीज लेट मी नो. Should I zoom it a bit more? Come on, think. Hmm. See, first you read assumption के points. Assumption question में जो statements है, you should be reading those. Development of agriculture technology is confined to developed countries. Agriculture technology is not adapted in developing countries. तो ये भी नेगेटिव है एंड ऑलमोस्ट सेम बात बोल रहे हैं दोनों. एक ही बात हुई ना कि कन्फाइंड टू डेवलप्ड है मतलब डेवलपिंग को नहीं पहुंच रहा है एंड एग्रीकल्चरल टेक्नोलॉजी इज नॉट अडेप्टेड इन डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज. तो एक तरफ से डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज हैं. तो इस तरीके से होगा. जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट. या so now the answer is D, neither one neither two. Why? Because in some places of the world, productivity of staples such as rice wheat has reached a plateau. Neither new strains nor fancy agrochemicals are raising the yields. मतलब flat हो गया है graph. Nor there is much unfarmed land left. ऐसा नहीं है कि land है वहाँ पे से हम थोड़ा farming जो है वो बढ़ा लें तो काम हो जाएगा. Nothing like that. If global temperature continues to rise, some places will become unsuitable for farming. Application technology can help. Agriculture technology is changing. Much of this change is brought about by affluent farmers, rich farmers जो कि developed countries में हैं. Techniques are being adapted in some places to make tropical crops more productive. Technology is of little use if it is not adapted. In the developing world, that applies as much as to the So in the developing world, that applies as much to existing farming techniques as it does to the latest advances, extending to smallholders and other farmers of Africa, etc. Best of today's agricultural practices in such simple matters जैसे कि fertilizers वगैरह हो गए, so would things like better roads etc. to allow for the carriage of surpluses to market. तो यहाँ कहीं पे भी we do get to see कि बहुत कुछ करने के बाद भी हमें इतना आउटपुट जो ट्रेडिशनल वे से है एग्रीकल्चर में वो नहीं मिलेगा. लेकिन कहीं पर भी ऐसे नहीं बोला कि जो एग्रीकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी है जिसके बारे में बात आपको यहाँ से देखने को मिलती है that it is restricted just to a place confined to या फिर only one set of countries उसको use कर. Right now agriculture technology is not adapted, but अफ्रीका के बारे में एशिया के बारे में तो बातें लिखी हैं, तो neither one neither two हम assume कर सकते. यहाँ पे काफी encouraging note पे later half लिखा गया है. So the answer here is D. Are you sure? So fast. Okay. Based on above passage, again वही वाला poor countries techniques. ये क्या assumptions हम ले सकते हैं? Poor countries need to bring about change in their existing farming techniques. Yes, they do need to do that. उनको ये technology लेकर आनी पड़ेगी. Later half we get to see. Developed countries have better infrastructure and they waste less food. See, if this is true, the problem here is of farming में टेक्नोलॉजी इन्फ्यूज करना सो दैट वी कैन हैव मोर प्रोडक्शन. दैट्स द बेसिक थिंग थीम जो यहाँ चल रही है. That is true. Can this be true as well? Because that thing in the passage is true. The developed countries have better infrastructure and अच्छा है अगर उनके पास है, so not like कि we don't want that to be there, but that doesn't relate. If second is true, that doesn't relate with something जो वो true सोच के मैंने passage पढ़ा है या लिखा है. Because of that, there is only the first one that we can assume. Second one doesn't help us with whatever information is given in the passage, and that's why answer is only one. इसी का तीसरा क्वेश्चन है assumption का. It's not like that. चलो ठीक है, अभी अलग करो. Okay, so again an assumption. We already have read the passage twice, so if you want, you can go through that again. But let's first see what's the assumption. The following assumption has been made: growing enough food for a future generation will be a challenge. That is so true, because yes, we get to see कि एग्रीकल्चर टेक्नोलॉजी का मदद लेनी पड़ रही है. नो मैटर, ऐसा भी नहीं कि लैंड बचा है तो चलो उसके ऊपर वी स्टार्ट फार्मिंग. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. अनफार्म लैंड लेफ्ट भी नहीं है. प्लेटू हो चुका है ग्रोथ, productivity. So yes, it is going to be a challenge based on the information. Yes, this is there. Corporate farming is a viable option, practical option for food security in poor countries. So corporate farming is a viable option. Yes, हो सकता था इतना. For food security in poor countries, very specific. But assumption is something that is based on or that has a foundation in the given passage. इसमें not because of the terms कि corporate farming एक नया term आ गया, पर just सोच के देखो ये corporate farming is viable option for food security. ये तो हमको positive hope दे रहा है. ये वाला सेंटेंस तो बता रहा है कि प्रॉब्लम उतनी नहीं है, कॉर्पोरेट फार्मिंग जो है उससे हो जाएगा सॉल्व. So that's the reason हम इसको assume नहीं करेंगे, and only one. That's our answer. Okay. So I hope this is clear to all of you. Yeah. Chalo. So we are done here. आगे की questions हम करेंगे next class में. Just to remind you, we have a course UPSC CSAT जो हमारे वेबसाइट पर ऐप पर सून आपको दिखेगा कि स्टार्ट हो रहा है. तो मेक श्योर कि आप उसको एक बार ज़रूर चेकआउट करें. इट्स गोना हेल्प यू अ लॉट. लाइक और शेयर करना नहीं भूलना है. Thank you so much. I'll be seeing you later now. Bye bye.